Jim Harbaugh, one of the most successful college football coaches of all time, and he makes over $10 million per year. But all $10 million isn't paid to him in the form that you would think. I'm going to break down in depth every piece of this contract, from bonus, salaries, incentives, and one very lucrative strategy that the University of Michigan did that was absolutely genius. If you are like most who love the game of football, you likely have heard Jim Harbaugh's name. And at the time of this recording, he is #1 in the country and is fighting for the national championship. And by the time that this video is out and edited, he may already be national champ.
In some more breaking news we are following tonight, Michigan football's Jim Harbaugh, one of the highest profile and highest paid coaches in the sport, has been banned from the sidelines by the Big Ten for the rest of the regular season.
He was also most recently all over the internet for getting suspended for stealing play signals from the opposing team. He also has a twin brother who is a coach for the Baltimore Ravens, who currently at this time is the #1 team in the NFL. So as we dive into the numbers, it should be no surprise at how much he makes, as he's one of the most well-known coaches in all of college sports. And the University of Michigan football is a very successful program. So now that we have a little bit of context on who he is, let's dive into his contract. In 2022, Jim was listed as the 7th highest paid football coach with a salary of $7.05 million per year. As we are exploring this, we have to remember the University of Michigan is a for-profit business. The university had a total ticket sales of $55.2 million, but of that, $47.5 million came from football alone. When you start to look at donors, the media, among other things, the revenue from athletics is astronomical. So with that being said, Harbaugh is an employee of the University of Michigan, and he is one of Michigan's most valuable employees. Therefore, to keep and retain your best employees, you must incentivize them well, while also maximizing revenue and profits. And I believe the University of Michigan has done this better than anyone in the entire country. And here is why. In 2022, Jim signed a contract with a total salary of $7,050,000. His base salary is $655,000, and his supplemental salary is $6,395,000. His base salary of $655,000 is just to perform the duties of being the head football coach at the university. The other $6 million plus is for TV, radio, PR, branding, personal appearances, promotions, and other activities that are related to being the University of Michigan's head football coach. His supplemental salary for the next 5 years will slowly increase to almost $7 million in the 5th year. He also can receive a bonus and incentive up to a total of $3,275,000, and that consists of winning the national championship, winning the Big Ten, being a coach of the year, and even an academic incentive for the performance of his athletes. The other perks that come with this, he receives 2 vehicles, $4,000 of Nike apparel per year, and he gets box suite tickets for the people he chooses to give them to. The last perk is he will receive $1 million per year in deferred comp for his retirement that will get paid out every 31st of December. And this brings his total compensation received to $10.1 million in 2022. And if he wins the national championship, which at this time he may already have, plus if you include the slight supplemental increase from 2022 to 2023, his total salary could reach over $11 million. The $1 million per year deferred compensation to Jim is where things get really interesting.
And the university will determine an appropriate deferred compensation arrangement.
Back in 2016, Jim signed a contract stating that the University of Michigan was going to pay him $4 million in his very first year and $2 million therefore after in retirement benefits, on top of his salary and incentives in his contract that he was already getting. And this consisted of 7 premium payments. The way the University of Michigan agreed to do this was through what is called a split dollar agreement, using life insurance. By doing so, this helped Jim be one of the highest paid coaches in college football. You may be asking, life insurance? Isn't it life insurance to be there for your loved ones when you die? The answer is yes, but it can also be used as an extremely powerful tool to accomplish that and provide retirement benefits to use of the liquidity while alive simultaneously. So on June 3rd of 2016, the first $2 million was paid to Jim. On December 31st of 2016, the second $2 million payment, totaling $4 million in 2016, was agreed upon, was paid to him. My suspicion is the reason why they made it on the 31st at the very end of the year was to make sure that their key employee was still part of the program. This is a very key piece of the strategy because this really is what's referred to as the golden handcuff strategy. So you may be asking, how does this really work? And what does this look like? And how does this benefit Jim and the University of Michigan? Here's how this works. The University of Michigan paid the life insurance premiums in a form of the loan to Jim. The life insurance policy will continue to grow and compound, getting tax advantages, and he has access to his cash available as well if he wants to use it. While he can use the cash, he also has an astronomical large lump sum of money that will be paid out to his family or whoever he chooses the beneficiary to be when he dies. Jim doesn't even have to pay this loan back while he is alive because when he dies, the death benefit will pay back the university what they paid into the policy. So the University of Michigan, they upfront the money today, Jim gets income today, and then in the future, Michigan gets paid back and is made whole when Jim dies, making it a win-win. Michigan gets to keep one of their top revenue producing employees with incentives, and they get to make all the money back that they paid him for the policy. A couple of caveats though. We must consider that there was likely agreed upon a few things in the contract. One, there was likely agreed upon time frame that states if Jim wants to keep the policy, he must stay with the University of Michigan for a specific amount of time. It was likely for 6 years based off of a 7-year premium payment. If Jim were to leave, he risks no longer being able to have the benefits of the policy or he may actually have to pay some of it back. This is why it is called the golden handcuffs. It incentivizes the key people in the organization to stick around as the employee really has no choice but to want to stay based off of this incentive. There's also a clause called the 150% clause, which protects the University of Michigan as well. Harbaugh is allowed to borrow against the policy and use it while he is alive, but he has to keep at least 150% of the premium untouched, which gives the school a cushion to make sure it gets its investment back in case Jim were to surrender the policy. So, as long as the policy remains in force, the loan will not have to be repaid back by Jim. Oh well, until he dies. At which time, Michigan will recoup its original $14 million investment back, and Harbaugh's beneficiaries will receive the remainder of the death benefit. Now today, it is 2024, and the original contract and all 7 premiums have been paid into his policy. But as we discussed going forth, $1 million of retirement benefits will be given to Jim. Now the question is what plan is this $1 million giving to him in? Is it still in the life insurance policy? Or is it in a different form of a retirement benefit? Well, I wasn't able to find the details in relation to this, but either it will continue to go to the policy, continue to grow and compound, or he will have chosen a different path and get a different deferred compensation plan. In my opinion, I think Jim should consider wanting to pay the life insurance premiums into the contract still versus changing the deferred comp and strategy to something different. Why? Because the longer you have life insurance and the more money you put into it, the more powerful it gets. So again, if it was me, I'd keep pouring money into that bad boy. Why? Because Jim still has access to the funds. If he wants to borrow against the policy for living or for investing, he can. It isn't a or conversation where should I put it into a retirement benefit or should I put into life insurance? It's you should put it into life insurance and you can borrow that money to put into a different retirement option or invest it or use it for your family. That's the beautiful part about life insurance that most people don't understand. This is why we have quoted and wrote a book called The And Asset. It gives people the ability to do both things at once. Storing your dollars into life insurance, allowing it to sit there and grow and compound. And then whenever you need access access to it and liquidity in use, you borrow against it and use for whatever activity you want. So this is why I believe that Jim, it would make a ton of sense for him to choose the life insurance option if he had the ability to choose, because he gets to continue to have access and control of those funds while it's growing and compounding to use it for something different while continuing to get tax advantage. If you are a business owner or entrepreneur and you're interested in the strategy like the one talked about in this video, please click the link below. It is the perfect strategy to help you retain key employees while also having use and liquidity to be able to capitalize to use the dollars in your business as well. Even if you are not an entrepreneur or a business owner and you still want control and use, or even the options into the future for cash flow or for retirement, this strategy is specifically designed for you. And what we want to do here at the And Asset is serve you at a very high level. So please click the link below, which will take you to our And Asset Vault. And our And Asset Vault has a video that will explain this concept in more depth with other options of education, including a 60-page handbook that'll help you if you're someone who likes to read. With that being said, please subscribe and like, and until next time.